Provider list. How to produce a list of active patients currently attached to a provider. The example in this video assumes that the initial panel identification process has occurred and that the panel is being maintained. Videos later in this series cover a number of searches you can do to assist with the initial panel cleanup and maintenance. So in order to run a search of all patients attached to a particular provider, you first need to be familiar with the fields that are used and entered into the search. So to show those, we're going to go to the registration menu. So double-click the Reg tab. And the most important key for attachment is this area here with a number attached to the doctor. So in this case, we have our doctor, Dr. Test Doctor, and this doctor has a unique number attached to them and a color, and that's used throughout the Telin system to identify a particular physician attached to the patient. So first you want to make sure that that number is correct and entered, and then you also, in order to make sure that the patient is active, want to look at the deceased section and the inactive section. In both cases you can see that no is selected, so no, the patient isn't inactive and the patient isn't deceased. So now we can exit out of here and go to our query builder, which is our main search engine. So we'll leave our test patient, we'll go to data, scroll down to query builder, so click that. So now we open our search editor, so that's use search editor in order to build a search from scratch. So click that and we'll start building our search. So the first thing is to identify that physician number. So we'll click this arrow and we'll scroll down. So we're in the table called patients. That's defaulted, so we'll just scroll down all the way, it's alphabetical, all the way to physician. So we can see physician and there's a little number next to it which shows that it's looking for a number. So we click physician and we'll say physician equals 12. Now we'll enter this plus sign. And next we're going to click this next arrow and scroll down to deceased. So we have deceased here and we want deceased to equal false. You can see that there's an AND key listed as a default. So far we have all patients that are attached to physician number 12 and excludes all patients that are deceased. So finally, we go again to patients, scroll down, we find inactive. Once again, we want inactive to equal false. Now, if you were interested in narrowing this down further, you could make sure that only patients that have been in recently are on your list. You could actually add an additional column and scroll down to last visit date, which is listed here as LV date, and you'd want that to be, list say is after, you have today's date, backspace to list 2013, so that's 3 years from today's date. So if you were to include this line here, you have only patients that have been in the last 3 years. But let's only save the basic search here of all patients attached. So we'll get rid of that column by clicking the minus sign. And to save, you simply go to this button and you click save. And then you're able to save it here. I actually already have the test doctors panel search here saved. You just press save, replace the search, and we have that set. And then in order to complete the search, you press query, and there you have a list of all of the doctors attached patients.